So, I don't know. What's feeling spicy today? What are you in the mood for?
Um, how about the wind crashing down the border wall? Why not just get right to it?
Yeah, let's go for it. So actually,
Yeah,
I think I have two articles and a meme for this one, and then we'll see what you got too. So, if
cool.
nobody saw the news this morning, there were like videos and picture and a whole bunch of articles of a large section of Trump's half-completed border wall on the border between, I believe it's California and
Yeah.
Mexico, and there was like crazy winds, and the whole border wall just like fell down and went brr, 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 and just like
They
fell
knocked
over.
down his big, beautiful wall.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Mexico came and fixed it, which was good. So Mexico took care of that for him,
Oh, geez.
which was really awesome.
There was a lot of hope for AMLO, right? And it turns out he's just been cooperating with the Trump administration, doing pretty horrific things to migrants coming from Central America, fixing this ridiculous wall. So
Imagine that.
I know, I know. But I love how Trump is like, let's build this big wall. And the wind was like, no, no.
Yeah. So there's a couple good run-ins to this, but we'll go with this first. We'll get you all caught up and up to speed on this, and then then we'll make it worse. I promise. So portion of U.S. border wall in California falls over in high winds and lands on Mexican side, and property rights and all. So I guess technically Mexico would have dibs on that because it's kind of like when you're a kid and you kick the ball and it goes over the fence and it goes into somebody else's yard. It's like, oh, now it's their property. So
Right.
maybe that's the same thing for,
Border walls.
Yeah, I mean, why can't everybody have some of the apartheid? It's cool. So newly installed panels from the U.S. border wall fell over in high winds Wednesday, landing on trees on the Mexican side of the border. Area is part of an ongoing construction project to improve existing sections of the wall. By like falling down. So yeah, there's a really good improvement. Apparently, when they built a large wall, they forgot to factor for what the shit is that called? Wind. Yeah. Yeah. Well played, Trump regime. Well played. Yeah.
This is like the Three Little Pigs story, and like literally wind knocked down the wall.
It's so much more though. It's so much worse.
Yeah.
So they told CNN sections of the wall gave way that had recently been set in new concrete. The concrete had not yet cured, and the wall panels were unable to withstand the windy conditions because these
Whatever.
professional construction workers and engineers, they just decided to not shore up a
How
large
long does it take
wall.
for concrete to cure? Like 24 hours or something? It doesn't take that long. So
It doesn't.
I
Plus, well, it depends. I mean, so if they're dropping like 14-foot footers in there, like 14 deep footers, technically they should pour it in two sections. But even if you drop all that rebar in and then you pour the concrete on top of it on like a 14-foot drop, it'll solidify in about 36 hours. It'll cure, 4 or 5 days, maybe somewhere around there.
that's not a long time.
Yeah, no.
It's not a long time.
No, but especially like when you set something in new concrete, you're supposed to shore it up. You run beams on both sides, you anchor it down. There's wind, so you have to account for both lift and sway. Yeah, that's a thing.
I just don't buy the concrete had not yet cured.
Oh, neither do I. But for argument's sake, since the I can't prove it crowd will eventually like fucking chime in. Why do you say stuff you can't prove? That's fine. I won't even bother. Like, I'm just gonna keep rolling because I assure you it gets dumber.
It's pretty dumb already.
Yeah, the winds gusted as high as 37 miles an hour. Ooh.
Not like 100.
Not
It's like
60.
Not that bad, right?
No.
I don't think that's that bad.
A 37 mile an hour wind. You know what we call that? Wind.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I lived in New York City. It was a 35-mile-an-hour wind perpetually
Right.
because it hums down the avenues.
Yeah, it's like a nice breeze.
Yeah, and it
So
becomes
it's
like a
important.
wind tunnel. So, yeah, 37 miles an hour. Ooh.
It's not that bad.
The wall. 37 miles an hour, hurricane level. Yeah, that's some fucking Wrath of God type shit. 37 miles an hour. So windy you can fly a kite. Yeah. All right. Like I'm going to put it this way. The wind was worse than 37 miles an hour when Kobe Bryant was flying in his helicopter. Just saying. Just saying. Just going to throw that out there, okay? We're lucky Trump's wall saved America from that wind.
Like, it's so dumb. And I hope you guys know that Trump really hasn't built that much wall.
On peut.
Like, yeah. And a tiny, tiny amount of wall is being built.
Poquito.
So, like, I think at the beginning of the article, it said that this was actually improvements to an already existing fence.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nailed it. Customs and Border Protection says local Mexicali officials diverted traffic from the area of the accident, and the agency is working with the Mexican government on the next steps to right the wall. So, in typical American fashion, not only did we overpay for something that was unnecessary, obnoxiously oversized, and poorly built, but when it went to shit, it still managed to land on somebody else's stuff and inconvenience another country. Literally peak America. That's like 4D chess. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, excuse my sarcasm. I heard it's nothing Trump's wall. It's mostly just fixing up old walls. Like, I don't know that there actually has been any new wall. For example, here in Texas, where the plan is for the wall, they've been clearing areas which are actually like pretty far into the interior. It's not actually on the border, and no wall has actually been built yet. So
yeah, they'll get to it. They need the next installment of another $12 billion of your money. Because keep in mind, most of the requisition got failed. So all the money that they used to start on these projects was money that they already had budgeted for the military for the year. So it's not like he still has like his wall funding that he's been talking about. Like, he's literally just using, I don't know, like a $2.5 billion allotment that the military had to like upgrade military bases and soldiers' barracks. And he was just like, I'm going to take that. And now they're just patching wall. Apparently so well that it falls down in a stiff breeze. So once again, peak America. There you go. 3 years into his presidency, Donald Trump's signature campaign promise has faced a host of legal and logistical challenges. Even with funding, the administration will have to contend with private landowners whose property may be seized to build barriers along the border.
right, and they don't want that.
Now, I do have to say that when I have idiotic arguments online, it's usually with the faux libertarian crowd, partially because it's like low-hanging fruit and partially because I still get off on it. I know I'm not a good person. And so, like the faux libertarians are like Poopy Pants Gun Girl, where they scream about how horrible taxes are because of immigrants and then want $40 billion to build a wall and think that it comes from like the magic money fairy who just like rains down benevolence from the sky. They don't like realize it's taxes. So they just ignore that. And pretty much my standard argument has been that there's something like 3,800 different property owners along the border in the 4 different states where they would essentially have to pay them like $100 for their house or pay them nothing for their house and kick them off. And I'm like, oh, cool. So you're all about the fascist government just coming in and taking people's shit, right? Like, that's totally cool because my wall. Like, nice. Yeah. So libertarian that you want to tax people $40 billion and take their private property. Ooh. It's like the wrath of horrible libertarian. So as bad as this is, here you go. Hold on. Oh, I know I got one here somewhere. Here you go.
I never understood wind. But also windmills give you cancer, so there's that.
Fucking ridiculous. The guy actually said, like, and again, it's not like we have to make this up. Like, there is literally a Trump soundbite and a Trump tweet for everything because he never shuts the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Ever. So, he actually, for those who are thinking we're just screwing around, number one, yes, he actually did speak at a Turning Point USA rally. And B, yes, he actually said that he does not understand wind. Wind. Rebecca,
like
do you understand?
There's so much more to that too. I kind of want to look up the full quote.
Hey, Rebecca, you're not a scientist, right?
No.
Do you understand wind?
I understand wind. Okay. I know enough to know that windmills don't cause cancer.
I mean, Frezo, yeah, wind is fairly complex, but you know, he doesn't understand the basic fundamentals of wind, which is why like people have to constantly convince him to not nuke people.
So, I found the quote. He says, "I never understood wind. You know, I know windmills very much, but they're manufactured tremendous. If you're into this, tremendous. But they have manufactured tremendous fumes. Gases are spewing into the atmosphere. You know, we have a world, right? So the world is tiny compared to the universe. So tremendous amounts of fumes and everything. You talk about the carbon footprint. Fumes are spewing into the air, right? Spewing. It's just like, dude, you know we have a world, right? Yes. Yeah, I know we have a world.
I have so many questions now. And there are no good answers to any of them, and I already know that. And, oh, good Lord. Yeah, so this is how we're starting the day, everybody. It's we're talking about the guy who doesn't understand wind and Poopy Pants Gun Girl. So in case you were wondering what kind of a day it is, these first 10 minutes should be a good bellwether for you. This is where we're at. It's only going downhill, I promise. Windmill cancer is a thing, folks. It's rare, but it's a tremendous thing. Believe me. Let me just tell you. It's the greatest cancer. It is the most amazing cancer. You won't believe how incredible that cancer is. People come up to me all the time, and they're like, Mr. President, I can't believe that cancer. Yeah. That's the thing. Sure. The best cancer. I only have the best cancers. The biggest cancers. The most amazing cancers. Ask all my friends. They'll tell you. They've never seen a cancer this amazing. I really think Donald Trump learned how to read using a Mad Libs book.